not really. Is this? What do you think? I never know how much, like, whatever. Hi, I have a massive Red Bull problem. F1, not the drink. Hello, I'm Louise, Lou Federer. I make videos about health, well-being, business, staying and thriving in your lane. Today I am doing a requested video, which was requested on my Instagram, which is basically my fitness journey. If you follow me on Instagram, you will know that I became rather interested in weightlifting about 18 to 24 months ago. This is basically because I got injured. I think if this story tells you anything at all, it's that the darkest times of your life, the ones where you're broken, you're bruised, you're bashed, you're battered, those can be the times when actually you stop thinking, oh, one day I'll pick up weights or one day I'll really change my life. But you think, no, this is day one. This is it now. I am not dealing with this anymore. I am not limping through my life in this uncompetitive state, turning up to the race in the least competitive car. No, we are going to actually change things. We are going to engineer our success, and we are going to visualize what that might look like in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. And honestly, this is going to be a journey that I want to see me succeed on forever. This is not about getting beach body ready, although it can be about that, because my God, do I love to go to Jamaica and like get my bikini on. But that's by the by. I love that as much as the next person, and fine, those things can definitely help to kind of rein you in and see you through with a bit of motivation. I think if my fitness journey taught me anything at all, it's really that motivation ain't all that. You can't rely on it. It won't always show up. You need to show up even when motivation doesn't show up. And the way you do that is by creating habits. And it's the most boring thing you're going to hear me talk about in this video, because I don't think anybody wants to hear any more about how to create good habits and how to lose bad habits. I used to only ever exercise if I had a summer holiday booked, if I knew that I was gonna, be getting my legs out, gonna get my tummy out, gonna be in a bikini, if that was on my horizon, or if I had some kind of, I remember like, oh my God, this is a really extreme example, but when I was 18, I remember I was obviously at the start of an eating disorder. I remember the kind of huge sort of regulating goal of mine was to be lean as hell by my 18th birthday, which I was, but I was also very much on that downward spiral into anorexia. So I used to just be motivated for kind of discrete occasions, holidays, vacations, that type of thing. And when I got injured, so I'm just going to briefly describe my injury. I got injured at the end of 2022, and it's a knee injury. The condition, as described by the MRI scan, is Hoffer's fat pad impingement. Let me just say, this took me out of commission completely for any type of cardio. For the last 2 years, while I have been on this body recomposition journey and actually become the most athletic version of myself that I've ever been, not saying that I'm particularly athletic, but for me, even as someone who's not been mobile, I have a wheelchair, I have crutches, I have not been able to walk, I have misguidedly started exercise training programs under people's guidance where there were, there was like a high step count. Didn't work out. Couldn't do it. The leg won't leg. This journey basically starts with physiotherapy as the gateway drug into becoming a stronger, leaner person, and one who absolutely loves and lives for resistance training. So I got my injury, did the MRI, went to a physiotherapist, of course, and basically put on a physiotherapy program. And I'd never done physiotherapy in my entire life. I had done a little bit of resistance training back in 2017, 2018. I got into that whole booty band thing that was absolutely huge. The booty builders on YouTube were massive. RaceFit UK, Whitney Simmons. So this was massive, and I'd had a fair crack of the whip at the whole booty building thing. I've got to be honest, I'm not really into big acid, and especially not on me. I started on physiotherapy, and this involved a whole bunch of moves, which were really just about rehabilitating my leg. My physio had done a whole bunch of tests on me, and to my complete shock and horror, she said I was considerably weaker than the average 33-year-old. I was really mortified by this. I was like, wow, that's just some difficult shit to hear. And what I had done is, during kind of COVID and starting my business, I was putting in 12, 16, 18-hour days just at my laptop in complete machine workaholism mode, and just not really moving a muscle. Like, I literally just sat there at my lovely ergonomic desk. It's got to be said, Herman Miller chair, Herman Miller desk, God love it. Ergonomic though it may have been, and kind of clues in the word, it was beautiful for work, brilliant for work. Neck pain gone, back pain gone, but my leg muscles were wasting away. I wasn't using my legs, I wasn't using my hips, my glutes, my quads, hamstrings, calves, nothing was getting used, and it was a serious problem, and I didn't realize it was a problem. And so at this time I was kind of like, well, bloody hell, I'm doing all these super long days sitting in my chair getting this business up and running. Thank God it was successful, so that's a happy tale. But at the same time, I was increasingly becoming out of shape. I was putting so much work in with the business and doing no exercise. I was never moving my body, and so I was becoming just a bit of a blob. Actually, I was visibly losing muscle definition. There was just really nothing giving my body shape except for just fat on my skeleton. So my body composition at this point must have been pretty bad. I actually had a DEXA scan a few months ago, and I'm having one again in 4 weeks, so I have kind of modern day data points for that. So back then I was like, I'm gonna have to do something. I'm gonna have to do some kind of exercise that's gonna get me moving, even if I kind of multitask and work at the same time. So I bought myself a treadmill to sit right next to my desk in my office at home, and I was like, right, okay, well, this is it then, and I'm gonna build muscle doing incline walking, incline running, and I'm gonna get fit in my office on my treadmill. And this was, I thought, just such a genius plan. I was gonna, do these walks on the treadmill, holding weights, the whole thing. So I did start doing this, and within about, I would say, a month, I had this very bad knee injury. So I'd gone way too hard, way too fast, absolutely classic Lou, and it was just a nightmare because I had now put myself in a position where I had such bad knee pain that even this wasn't an option anymore. So I'm sitting next to this really expensive treadmill getting all this work done, and I'm kind of like, what am I actually going to do? I did start to see a physiotherapist because I was like, can you tell me what's wrong with me? I really need to be doing something for myself here, and I'm clearly not. So she basically started me on physio, and that basically means that there's just a bunch of prescribed movements that your physiotherapist wants you to do because they think it will rehabilitate you. And so this involved all sorts of things: body weight, posture board squats, single leg Romanian deadlifts, lunges, calf raises, barbell deadlifts. All of this was either body weight or without extra weight at the start. And I did say to her, like, I'm finding, I was doing it every single day, by the way, which apparently wasn't meant to be doing. So I would go out every single day from about April last year. And also for context, during this time I'd also relapsed with bulimia because I basically couldn't cope with the way I was looking. I really hated my body at this point. All my terrible old unresolved coping mechanisms just came right back into the fray. And so I thought, well, if I can do this to my body, then maybe I'll sort of chisel some kind of shape out of it. But the minute I started seeing a physiotherapist was kind of my rock bottom, and all of these factors just kind of came into alignment all at the same time. My bulimia relapse had gotten so terrible. I was really doing myself in breakfast, lunch and dinner. It was just so sad. And I remember, and this is a little graphic, and sorry if this is a little triggering as well, I remember having a bulimia episode in my ensuite bathroom, and my little rescue cat came in while I was in the act, and I just saw him looking at me like, what are you doing? And it genuinely just broke my heart, and I just thought, this cat doesn't understand that I'm self-abusing in this way, but I know that this cat loves me, and if he knew that I was doing this to try and control my body into submission, into some different shape, he would be so upset. He just wouldn't be able to support it, and I just honestly thought, I owe it to anyone, any man or beast who cares about me, that I actually start looking after myself. From that day onwards, and when I started physiotherapy and really, I started paying money to learn how to support my body into a new phase of health, all of these factors just came into sort of beautiful alignment, and it was really a chance for me to start over. The physiotherapy, it was just the start of a beautiful learning curve, and of course it was incredibly slow at first. I mean, I had this debilitating injury, the pain off the scale, the motivation to change, and the motivation to be doing the physiotherapy and to be starting a new habit was just, I didn't need any convincing. My why was just front and center, because my life before I had started weightlifting and weight training was just completely unlivable. The state I was in was unsustainable, and it really just completely changed my perspective in life. I had honestly been just this workaholic machine that never even stood up. I had this standing desk. I never even used it as a standing desk. I just sat there in this chair doing 16-hour days all the time. Didn't even take Christmases off. Sounds extreme. It was crazy. I basically got to a sort of rock bottom, and clearly with the eating disorder relapse, and with my limbs being significantly weakened, and just being completely out of shape, really not having a shape to speak about. It was just sort of fattened skin on bone, really. It was terrible. Felt terrible as well, because the eating disorder was leaving me not just with very low energy, but really with huge amounts of self-disgust, shame and guilt. All of those factors kind of just snowballed into the biggest reason why I would change the way I was living. I basically just kept going with that and kept progressing with the physiotherapy day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. I remember during this time, I obviously had to be really gentle with what I was doing to rehabilitate my knee, my leg. And I did say to my physiotherapist, I think I could at least try like heavy lifting kind of for my upper body, for my, for my arms, shoulders, biceps and all the rest of it. And she said, yeah, of course you could. There's no reason why you shouldn't like fully go into even full bodybuilding mode if you really wanted to for your upper body. Obviously, you do need to take it easy with the rehab on the leg. It's a very tricky injury and you really don't want to regress it. So I was like, well, damn, if it's safe for me to train upper as much as I like, obviously with certain training protocols in place and best practice and form and all the rest of it. And I was like, brilliant. I started training my upper body in around, I would say, probably late summer last year. I'm not even sure where I really learned the exercises. I just figured it out for myself and used a lot of YouTube. I started really training my shoulders. I started training biceps. I was watching a lot of YouTube content from a lot of women bodybuilders, people like Lean Beef Patty, for instance. They're not shy of developing, a strong back, strong arms. Yeah, I just decided that's what I want to do, and I just went for it. It was honestly the best decision of my life. And people say, like, how do you stay motivated to exercise? And I think what people don't see is that obviously the aesthetic progress is fulfilling. It definitely is. But what people can't see is that it plays such a huge part of my sort of mental well-being and just keeping me on an even keel at worst, but in genuinely really positive mood states at best. When I'm training, training and when I'm not battling niggles and injuries and strains and that kind of thing, I absolutely adore my weightlifting sessions. I just absolutely adore them, and I make playlists and just really get into it, and that's actually what really keeps me going, I think, because it's easy for your motivation for aesthetic wins to sort of come and go, to sort of ebb and flow, to wane and wax. Honestly, the reason why I show up consistently and have done for 18 months going on 2 years is because it plays such a huge part in my mental health, and I have a very demanding job. I mean, it's my own business, so there is a degree of flexibility there, but I have employees. My business is the money this whole household brings in now, because my husband left his professorship to work for my company full-time. So there's a lot of pressure on me professionally, and I find that having that outlet and just doing it whenever I want, and even if it's freezing cold like it was the other day, I went outside, I was wrapped up, 3 pairs of socks settings, and I just went and did my workout and just honestly entered this beautiful flow state, is the only way I can describe it. It's kind of like a trance, but there's like effort there. There's strain, effort, and it's almost like a sort of meditative exertion. And I think unless you've developed that relationship with exercise, you probably won't know what I mean. I honestly think it's possible for anybody to achieve a love of exercise. I grew up in a family of marathon runners, of people that only ever did cardio, from what I could tell. I was the kid like at the back of the aerobics class while their parents, did the whole kind of 80s thing. All I ever saw was like, people running for like weight loss, and my parents telling me when I was like a chubby adolescent, like, oh, you might want to start like jogging or something, to get the fat off. And honestly, I think that running, jogging to lose weight mindset really did me no favors at all. It completely ruined my relationship with cardio, even though I've not been able to do any cardio because of the knee injury. I think it's actually really proven to myself that you can do a damn good body recomp and not even go for a walk. I'm not saying don't go for a walk, because walking and hiking used to be my absolute favorite thing, by the way, so do I ever miss that? But what I am saying is that I think loads of us who grew up in the era of like Shape and like Runner's World magazine just have this like core belief, this distortion, this like fundamental distortion about life. You can't be slender, lean, toned without having a pretty extreme running habit. Honestly, I just feel so deeply empowered by finding weightlifting, resistance training, bodybuilding, whatever you want to call it. It's honestly changed everything for me, and I think shoulders are the new glutes. That's just me. Whatever you want to do is completely cool. This is where I am with it now. As I said, or have I said, I did have some minor knee surgery last week, so I am taking it a bit lower this week. But if you do want to follow anything I do on that kind of health fitness front, you can follow me on Instagram. I upload all my workouts on there, and you can follow me on the Heavy app. I'm Lou Federer on there, and you can just dip in and out of some of my workouts and see what it is that I'm up to. The last few weeks I've just been doing physio, so it's been a bit of a kind of deload from what I was doing previously, but I hope that this has kind of helped share my passion, and I would honestly love to hear about your own stories with learning to love moving and like the patterns of movement that actually feel really good, really support who it is that you really are, because I think so many of us can feel like, oh, I'm not a cardio bunny, I'm not this little Pilates queen thing. It doesn't really matter. You need to find a way of moving and a way of conditioning your body that feels good for you, because it's your body. And if you don't want to build big glutes, you don't have to build big glutes. Like, there's so many trends in the resistance training space that I think it's very easy to feel a kind of imposter syndrome, or that like you need to be wearing like head to toe Gymshark or be wearing little booty shorts or anything. But the truth is that this is completely for you to own in your own way. This is your meditative exertion, and really you just need to start. The way I started was in pretty dire circumstances, frankly, and at that point I didn't even know what was ahead, but I knew that everything had to change about the way I was treating my body. That's my story of becoming a sort of amateur bodybuilder. Look forward to hearing what you have to say, and please like the video if you did indeed like it, and obviously subscribe to my channel and make sure you have notifications on so you don't miss my videos. And I will see you very soon. Bye.